What's up, KSP fans? It's dylloop, and welcome to part 4 of my KSP tutorial series. Today we will be looking at how to calculate the DeltaV of our rockets. So right now I'm just grabbing a little tiny command pod with a parachute on it and a decoupler. So the equation to calculate the DeltaV of your rocket is 9.81 meters a second times your ISP value of your engines times ln times mass 1 over mass 2. So the ISP value is found on the little description page. So this one has an ISP at sea level 320, ISP in vacuum 370. So it just depends where you're using it for that stage. LN is a natural algorithm. You can find it on your calculator. We'll explain how to do that when we get there. Mass 1 is your full mass. So your entire stage or rocket's mass with the fuel in it. So it says total mass 18 on this one. And then mass 2 is your dry mass. So if this didn't have mass, which is 2. So we'll explain how to get there. So what I want on this guy is an advanced SAS module. And then I want to go ahead and get 2 RCS fuel tanks. And one of these long tanks. No. Yeah, one of these long tanks. Then kind of want one of these little tiny engines here, which don't have a real good ISP, but they weigh really tiny. So let's do this. RCS. Just thinking of what I need. RCS, and let's do the center of mass so I can get this right here and here. There we go. We got our little rocket here. So this is going to be our deorbit stage. Let's calculate the mass of it. So our mass would be 0.1. So 0.1 plus our command pod, 0.8 plus 0.8. And then we've got our SAS module, so 0.1. Then we've got our thrusters, our RCS thrusters. I already know those are 0.4. Then we've got both tanks of RCS fuel. So 0. Plus 0.55 plus 0.55, and we get 2.5. Now our engine, 2.5 plus 0.5, which is 3. So this whole mass stage is 3, except for the fuel. You do not calculate this fuel yet, so because we're going to do that right now. So we need to add first total mass is 4.5, so that's 7.5 for our M1 equals 7.5. And for the dry mass, we get dry mass 0.5, and we add that to 3, so mass 1 or mass 2 equals 3.5. Now we need our ISP value of this engine, which is in a vacuum is 390. That's where we're going to be using it. So ISP equals 390. So let's do this equation. So we get 9.81 meters a second. 9.81 times our ISP value is 390, and we get 3,825.9. Now we need to multiply that by the mass 1 over mass 2, so you get your mass 1 is 7.5 divided by mass 2 is 3.5. And then you get 2.14. Then you hit your LN button on your calculator. Most scientific calculators do have an LN button, or if you're on an iPhone, if you switch your screen sideways, you can see that button, because it turns into kind of like a scientific calculator. And you get 0.76, and you have to just multiply your original 3825.9 times your 0.76. And you get 2,907, and that's your DeltaV for this stage. So the DeltaV for this stage is 2,907. That can't be right, but it must be, because I guess we have a lot of fuel for a small engine on this thing. We're not going to need that much, but it should be fine. Now let's make another stage to this. So we get a stack decoupler. We're going to keep in mind the full mass of this because this tank will never, so M1 is now my total mass, for now. So, let's write that down, 6.315, no, mass 1, 7.5, I was looking at a different rocket that I had written down. So we get decoupler here, some propulsion. Let's go ahead and get one of these tanks here again, and one of these tanks, and one of these. Let's get some more extra RCS on this here. Not one of those, definitely, because this is going to be our stage that orbits us. Then you want your RCS thrusters. Which we can disable those. I'll show you guys action groups right now too. I don't know if I ever covered those. So that's we're going to be looking at action groups today too. We'll orbit this thing next episode. So we need our RCS thrusters. Just put them directly away from here, so that these two are going to be what's moving us. Or even, if we just move them way down here, that should be around equal to our little mass. Yeah. So we could disable these. Next, we need to do our little asparagus staging setup here. So we're going to get these small stack decouplers. Set it to 2 times symmetry this time. And we're going to set these right here. We're going to put one of those fuel tanks on it. Just lined up with it. And then one of the larger ones on that one. So like so. And we're going to have fuel lines draining from here into here on both sides. And liquid fuel engines. Yay. So I'll show you guys how to calculate the ISP value of this in when we're done, because as you notice, like, our ISP value is going to be different. Not because you have multiple engines, that's always the same. It's going to be the same ISP value, but simply because I have a separate engine here, which I could actually change because that's kind of complicated and I don't even understand it. Same thing with asparagus staging. That's just a lot of math to calculate the DeltaV for asparagus staging. Yeah, it's really, really hard. So right now we're going to have 2 stages, just in this bottom stage. And why don't we just go ahead and make it 4? By doing another asparagus stage setup here. So, structural, and we'll calculate this all, and I'll show you guys how to do it. Even though it's going to be a little complicated, it's good to learn. We're going to get our fuel tank here. Just go ahead and stick that there and move it down. Now, if you guys don't remember, the reason I move it down is because it doesn't like to connect all the time. Then we get this big guy here. There we go. And some rocket engines with some fuel lines. There we go. We have our little stage here. Now some winglets, so we can keep this guy steady in the atmosphere. So we get just winglets. Put these here, and put these ones here. I don't know if this is going to be enough to orbit. You're going to need 5,400 to orbit this thing. So let's see. First off, let's think. We need our stage of this one first, just because I like to work from top to bottom. So if we forget all about these here and just calculate this, we can get our proper stage. We already have a total of 7.5, so if you add this decoupler to 7.5, you get 7.5 plus 0.05. And then you want to add your little RCS tank, 0.05 plus 0.55. And then you don't do the engines. You do your RCS thrusters, which is going to be, if it's, what is it, 0, we have to multiply that by 4, so 0.2, so we plus 0.2, and then our engine itself, which is 1.25 plus 1.25 equals, and we get a total mass of 9.55. So, Kerbal Space Program just went live. It's a community live stream right now. 9.55. We'll just write that down. 9.55 without our fuel. So we need our mass 1. So just these two fuel tanks added up. Now these are going to be the same, so I'm going to write them down, which is total mass 2.25 plus our total mass of this one, which is 4.5 plus 4.5, 6.75. I'm writing that down so I can just use it for these stages here. Except that's going to be doubled for those. So our mass 1 is 9.55 plus 6.75. 6.75. We get a mass 1 of 16.3. It's a little bit complicated right now. Mass 2. Now we just need the plain old dry mass, 0.25 plus 0.5. 0.5 equals 0.75. Simple. So 9.55 plus 0.75. The reason I'm doing that is because we're just adding the dry mass onto the mass of this whole thing. So we get mass 2 of 10.3. So now we need the ISP value of that engine. This engine is going to be used mostly in a vacuum, somewhat in an atmosphere. So let's get the average of ISP value for this guy, which is 350. So we need 9.81 times 350. We get 3,000. So wait, ISP is 350. So we get 3,433.5. Now we just need to do 16.3, which is our mass, or our full mass, divided by 6. Did I write that down wrong? I did. I wrote the mass. Hang on. 9.55 plus 0.75. Oh. 9.55 plus 0.75 equals 10.3. Okay. So you do your full mass, which is 16.3, divided by your dry mass, which is 10.3. Divided by 10.3, and you get 1.58. Or you get that number, but then I forgot to hit ln. So you get 0.459. So I'm just going to go 0.46. 0.46. So 3,3433 plus, or times 0.46 equals DeltaV of 1,579. 1,579. And again, this stage up here can be used for somewhat orbital maneuvers if we get this wrong, so it's not too big of a deal. We need to do that same thing for the second stage and for the third stage. So the next stage down on the list is the one that's not connecting to the inner fuel tank. Which... what the heck? Oh, those are just really close. Okay, so these two right here. Now, we got a full mass on this last stage. We got a full mass of 16.3, so we just need to add on to that. 16.3. So all we need to add is the engines, which is 1.25. 1.25 times 2, because we have 2 engines on this stage, which is 2.5, and also winglets. Our little winglets, we have 2 of them, so plus 0.02. Plus the 16.3. We get 18.82. 18.82. Oh boy. So now we need to add up the full mass of these two stages. So these tanks here and here. We already have that number, which is 6.75, but we need to multiply it by 2 because we have 2 of them, so it's 13.5 plus the 18.82. And we get mass 1 of 32.32. Now the mass 2, 0.75 times 2, because we already had that number. We get 1.5, so 18.82, which is the full mass, or the mass before the fuel. Again, 18.82 plus... Oh man, I did that wrong. 0.75 times 2 plus 18.82. I didn't do it wrong for you guys, I did it wrong on my calculator. So we get a mass 2 of 20.32. So now we just need to get the ISP value, and everything's going to still be the same. It doesn't matter how many engines you use. They're going to be the same values. At least I think so. But then again, I might be totally wrong. We'll be right back. Okay guys, we are back. I'm going to go ahead and just name this guy Orbiter for now. I can't figure it out. I'm pretty sure that you just add them up yourself. I can go check this with MechJeb and show you guys if it's wrong or right or whatever. Either way, if you're a little off, it's not gonna matter. Or for what I'm doing, it's not. If you're doing a long mission, it might. So if you know for a fact, leave it in the comment section. I'll add an annotation. I'm not sure if you're supposed to add the ISP values or just one ISP value. From what I can tell, it's just one. But then again, I might be totally wrong. So let's just go ahead and do what we were doing. So we still have the same value here. So I'm gonna go throw that number up on the screen there. But the mass 1 and mass 2 is different. So we need to take the mass 1, 32.32, divided by the mass 2 is 20.32. And we get numbers 1.59 ln. We get 0.46. 0.46 times the 3433.5, and we get 1,593.4. I'm just gonna not do the 0.4. So the DeltaV for that guy is there. Next off, we need to add the third stage, third and final stage. So it doesn't matter. We're gonna do this stage here. So these two. We have a 32.32 will be our main mass that we need to add on to. I forgot to add the decouplers. How much do those weigh? They don't weigh enough to change the DeltaV tremendously. So I'm not going to worry about those. For this stage, I'm going to worry about them. But I'm not going to redo the math for the other stage. So 32.32. Okay. 0.025 times 2 equals 0.05 plus 32.32, 32.37 plus our little winglets here, 0.2, so plus 0.04 plus our engines, which has a mass of 1.25 plus 1.25 plus 1.25 for 2 of them, and we get 34.91. 34.91. Now we need 6.75 again times 2. We get 13.5 plus the 34.9, and we get a mass 1 up 48.4. So the mass 2 is 34.9 plus 1.5, and we get a mass 2 of 36.4. The DeltaV again, or the main part, is going to be the same for the ISP times the 9.5 deal. So now we just need to divide 48.4, divide that by 36.4. And then you hit the LN button. You get 0.3 times the 3433.5. You get an ISP of 970, which this stage isn't going to be able to make it to orbit. I can already tell now. So DeltaV of 9,708. 3. So if I add those up, we need 4,000. We get about the right DeltaV. I'm gonna go ahead and launch this, guys, and see. So our first stage needs to be right. We need all of the engines to fire. Let's go ahead and minus that, actually. So this engine here to fire. And then we want just the right decouplers to unclamp. So it's these two. Then we need these two, and then we need this one, and then we need that engine to fire. This to decouple, parachutes to launch. Let's just go ahead and save it. I'm gonna see if this will actually get to orbit. Just curious. So you guys get a little bonus footage. This isn't gonna be the tutorial. This is gonna be kind of just messing around. Hopefully the math is all right. This is more of a complicated video. I may wind up re-recording it, so watch out if you see my channel uploaded again. So yeah, I didn't add any struts to this thing either. Let's go ahead and launch. Yeah, this thing should be able to get to orbit. Should. But yeah, hopefully I have the math right. I might not. I didn't do the advanced, or the what's it called? Action groups. We'll do that when I'm done flying this guy. It's very wobbly. So the DeltaV of stage 1 was so low just because, oh, I just decoupled that before it was out. Alright, let's go ahead and add that action group while we're here. So action groups are kind of simple. I don't know if I covered them. You click action groups, and then you've got these here, all this stuff. The only ones, brakes is your B button, SAS is your T button, RCS is your R button, lights is your L button, I think. Gear is your G button, and stage is space, and abort is the little is either backspace or the little button by your altimeter. And then these customs are numbers 1 to 0. So 1, 2, 3, and then 10 is 0. So let's go custom 1. I'm going to use custom 1 to turn off these RCS thrusters on and off. So let's just save that. So if you use custom 1, those it'll toggle those. So if I press the 1 button, it'll toggle those RCS thrusters off. I still didn't add struts, but not a big deal. Yeah, and then next episode we'll be doing the orbital thing. I'm actually probably going to end up this episode and then fly it. If you guys see this re-uploaded, let me know. I'm probably going to, or actually I won't re-upload it. I'm going to check my values with MechJeb right now. So we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Okay guys, we're back. But I just had something to tell you guys. I think I did do the ISP values right. Because I took this thing into orbit. It's supposed to take 4,500 meters DeltaV per second of DeltaV to get into orbit. This only had 4,150, and as you can see, I barely used any of the fuel in the second stage, which really should amount to 2,907, but I probably took like 300 of that to get up here. So I think it's accurate. I can double check with MechJeb, and if it's if you're seeing this, that is right. But if you're not, that's wrong. Because I'll re-record this if it's wrong. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time, and don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and comment any questions you have so I can answer them. And we'll see you again later. Goodbye. Okay, guys, sorry about this. I know I've said bye a few times. So, MechJeb is really cool. I don't like to use it for the landing autopilot and stuff, but if you take one of the MechJeb modules and drag it into the screen, it'll show your vessel information, which is really cool, because it gives you the same information you could get with the math, but it saves some time. It says total mass is 48.03 tons, surface thrust to weight ratio 2.28, that means we could lift off, part count, and best of all, our DeltaV. So we messed up a little bit. Our DeltaVs were close, but they're a little off, which as long as they're not off by more than like 50 or so, which they're not. So stage 6, it says the atmospheric DeltaV was 902, and the reason they're off is because I didn't put those decouplers in, which changes it a little bit. So atmospheric DeltaV is 9.02, and that's what I got for that stage. Then we've got stage 5. I have DeltaV of 1,593. This one has a DeltaV of 1,467. Next one, I have a DeltaV of 1,579. This one has a DeltaV of 1,447. Now, I realize why I messed up the DeltaV values for this. It's not because of the decouplers, it's because of the ISP values. No, did I ever change the ISP values? I did not. I did not. No, did I? For these engines, what's the ISP value? 370. I should have put 320 down, but I was actually putting the average even for these stages, so that it's a little off, just because the ISP value is just an average between atmosphere and space. So yeah, it's a little off, but it shouldn't be extremely off. And then last but not least, our top stage should be accurate. No, it is not. No, it is. It is. It's almost completely accurate. 2,907, and they have 2,887. So yeah, it's a little off, and that's because, you know, math sucks. I can never get it exactly right because I didn't input all the decimals, and MechJeb does, of course, and averages it correctly. And you know, if you do it the way I do it, you're gonna be off. No matter what, you're gonna be off because you get these huge long decimal numbers with 10 digits after the decimal that you're not gonna want to add. But either way, it's only gonna be like this one here. It was only 20 off. So 20 meters per second is not much. It can change a lot, but it's not a whole lot off. So yeah, that's why you always want to overshoot your DeltaV just in case. So yeah, this thing can get into orbit. We have all the DeltaV correct, and thank you guys for watching yet again, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.